I just know you're going to love the guests that we have on in this episode, so don't go away. Welcome to the interview. I'm Dr. Rick Wadge, and I'm here with a couple of guests you're going to love to get to know. First, we have David Nitsche.
Glad to be here, Rick.
It is so glad to have you here, too. Good to see you. And Alex Bennett.
Yes,
Alex, how are you doing? It's the first time we've had you on the show.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Okay, and how are you guys related, and what's this all about? Let's talk about it.
Well, we actually met through my daughter. Alex is, and Amanda just got married, and so he's my new son-in-law.
Mazel tov. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
I would say something in French, but I don't know French.
Oh, well, I don't need
How about Aramaic?
Aramaic.
I understand you know a little Aramaic.
In Aramaic, it would be Shlomo, Pee-wee. I don't know. I write commentaries on Aramaic.
Yeah, I know.
Let's not go into that right now. Alex, you were here because of what? What are you doing in beautiful Amarillo, Texas?
Yeah, well, thanks for asking.
You're here for the skiing.
Not quite.
Okay.
I've never seen such flat spaces for as long as, I've been alive.
You have not been to Paladura Canyon,
No, I haven't,
so
not
just
yet.
keep that in mind.
We'll
Okay.
take him there Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you keep up the bad attitude, we'll dig a hole in the back. Be lots of unflattened spaces.
All right, well, I'll change that attitude then. So I'm here in Texas with Dave's daughter, my wife, Amanda, and we are raising support for the ministry that we're part of.
Okay.
I work for Faith Christian Church. I'm a minister there, and we reach out to college students at the University of Arizona.
Okay.
We preach the gospel to them and teach Bible studies and invite them to church. It's a real critical and real personal ministry for me because this is actually how I became a Christian. I went to the University of Arizona to study, and I studied history. I do have my degree, but I went there and I wasn't a Christian. But somebody met me on campus and shared the gospel with me in a way that either I'd just never paid attention to before or I'd never heard before. And that was that Jesus died for me, gave his whole life up for me so that I owe everything back to him. And that really stuck out to me. And I took the time to sit down with him and see what the Bible said. More like he took the time to sit down with me and show me what the Bible said. And at the time I was a pretty stubborn, argumentative guy, so I really appreciate his patience. But that truth broke through, and in September of 2008, I became a Christian. And now I'm doing this full time myself, and to be able to reach out to college students the same way that someone reached out to me is a huge blessing. So Texas, we're back in the community that my wife Amanda grew up in, ties to the community here, and parents-in-law and other family, just to let them know what we're doing and how they can help us.
Well, I think you have a job on your hands, and God bless you for doing this.
Thank you.
We just have come through a series on letting people know some of the things that are being taught in a lot of the universities today in the United States, and it's scary. It's alarming, and how alarming it is that how little they know about the way our government is set up. What they put together in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the founding paperwork that has defined who we are, in contradistinction to a lot of the other countries. So, from what I understand about Arizona, at least a lot of it is very liberal. So, Dave, what do you know about the colleges and the universities? You taught for years in the school system.
Well, in my experiences in the state of Texas, what I understand about Arizona is it's more of a central kind of a state, but they have the left-leaning in the college towns. So Phoenix, Tucson, probably more left-leaning, probably more liberal. You can correct me on that. That's my understanding of it. But I know the last election, they were terrific. They were very, very upset by the way that the vote swung. And so it went to a more liberal senator, is that correct?
Yeah, it did go to a
Yeah,
liberal
so
senator.
that was a real shocker for them. And they had an interesting little political play there where they actually got the conservative in. as to take over a place where a man, I guess, and I don't know the names, but he resigned, I guess, and so they actually got the conservative in there too.
Yeah.
But
Well,
the
it's
fact that a
scary.
liberal was actually voted in was very, very much of a shock.
Well, and it's,
It's,
we're seeing this
it's where it's
trend.
going, yeah, it's
We're
the way
seeing
it's
this
going.
trend. We almost had a kind of a nightmare in our own
Yeah,
state.
absolutely, we did.
And
then it
God
could-
bless Ted Cruz.
Absolutely, yeah. Which,
So-
by the way, I like his little goatee. I like his beard.
I
that
haven't
he's
seen it
sporting.
recently. Is that
It's-
right?
It's very.
You know, I
very
met him.
distinguishing.
I met him in Tel Aviv
Wow.
and actually got to pray over him. And he's an incredible man,
Yeah,
a man of God, as well as
He is.
just a man who's very ethical, very moral.
yeah.
So God bless
Yes,
Ted Cruz.
absolutely.
Thank you, Ted Cruz, if you're watching this episode this week.
It's a little bit of a pitch for Texas.
It is.
Yeah.
Big pitch for
Yeah,
Texas.
yeah.
We love Texas.
Right, right.
Okay, so you have a job on your hands. And
Yeah.
so when people help support that ministry, which I
Yeah.
want you to tell us more about,
Sure.
what does that do? What is that doing?
Yeah, so that when people help support our ministry, that enables us, our full-time campus evangelists, to get out there on campus and reach the students full-time.
Okay.
And it really is full-time. Ministry is not just a set schedule. It's kind of your whole life.
You don't have time to
And,
play golf?
Hey, sometimes.
If it's ministry,
Right, right. Although I'm not sure anyone would want to play with me. I think the last time I played golf, I shot about a 140.
I don't know. You're just the guy we want.
Hey, last time I played, I had a stroke.
Nice. Hopefully, you're just talking about that.
4, actually.
okay.
So just so you,
Yeah. All right. That's better.
this is why I like to have Dave on
Yeah.
set, because he laughs at all of my
Exactly,
horrible
yeah,
jokes. So Thank you,
exactly.
Dave.
I just kind of spur him on.
Okay, let's have a website. Where can people go to find out more?
So it's real simple. It's just fccm.org.
How many
F-
C's?
3 C's.
All right.
Yeah. And so they can check out our website there. Namely, if there's videos, thank you videos from some of the students that we reached out to, they can see, pictures, what we do on campus, and just get to know us a little bit more. As far as what we're doing out there, and again, going back to your question, what it enables us to do as a staff is it enables us to go out onto campus and share the gospel with students. And we do this in a one-on-one setting. And so it's been pretty amazing. The last few years, we've averaged just shy of 13,000 students that we're able to, or 13,000 one-on-one conversations rather, just in case there's some duplicates. Sometimes a student will stop and talk to us multiple times, and first time very opposed to it, but you can see people lighten up as you talk to them over the semester and over the year, and eventually you can see the Lord start drawing them in. But we get to share the gospel on a one-on-one basis on average just shy of 13,000 times each year. So it's been pretty, we're reaching students there. We're reaching a lot of them, and the amazing thing is then the Lord does the rest, Some of these students immediately want to come in and sit down and learn what the Bible says, learn about how to have a relationship with Jesus. Some of them, it takes a while. For me, it took a while. I was meeting with the guy that was teaching me the Bible for about a year before I became a Christian. And so I remember, and I'm thankful in retrospect just for the plain truth being taught to me, especially on the college campus, because you're right, there's a lot of crazy ideologies, philosophies being taught on college campuses, and many, if not most of them, are just completely anti-Christian.
And there's also cults
Oh,
on
yeah.
college campuses. So you're up against that as well. So people that are non-religious or a non-religious background have to sort through the whole, myriads of belief systems that claim to be Christian.
Yeah.
So
We keep that real simple. We teach the Bible as 100% truth from cover to cover, and that makes it easy, takes out a lot of confusion. To be able to do that again is just huge blessing, both personally, and then we believe it's going to be a blessing to the world, because we really believe the future leaders are on the college campuses. So when we reach college students with the gospel, when we disciple them according to the word of God under the authority of the local church, when they grow and mature and become these amazing mighty men of God or mighty women of God, and get to wherever they're going, whether it be in the medical field or law field or education field, they're going to be in these places with a very solidly Christian perspective. That's how they're going to be operating. And so we see. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was just thinking, are you running into any kind of free speech issues where they're not allowing you to have free speech when it comes to speaking of religion?
The University of Arizona is actually really great about that as far as our experience with them. Free speech, we're able to be out there, we're able to preach the gospel. Mostly the opposition we run into is just people who hate Christians and hate what we're saying. But that's in John, Jesus tells us, the world hates you, it hated me first. And so that just comes with the territory of being a Christian and preaching the gospel on a college campus. But it's not like we're going to stop just because someone doesn't like it. So,
Right.
And again, I'm thankful that those who reached out to me didn't stop just because someone didn't like it, just because I didn't like it at first. I didn't like hearing the truth of the gospel and that I was accountable to God, and that I couldn't just live life on my own terms and expect to have a relationship with God. God lays out the terms of his relationship with man in the Bible. And I'm grateful that someone actually taught me what those terms were, took the time to show me in the Bible how to have that relationship.
Love it.
Yeah.
Dave?
Yeah, I'd like to ask you a question. So what would a day look like for you? When do you get to campus, and then what are the things you do while you're on campus? When do you leave campus?
Sure.
And is your job over when you leave campus?
Okay. Yeah. So typically during the week, the day starts between 10 and 10:30, which sounds a little bit late, but there's plenty to prepare in the mornings. And then we're on campus, or I'm typically on campus until about 8 o'clock at night. And so while I'm there, I'll be preaching the gospel to students as they're coming by. The U of A has about 40,000 students, I think more than that now, actually. And the main campus, I believe, is about a mile square. So there's a lot of foot traffic there. And so I'll be stopping people as they're walking by, or if they're sitting on a bench, I'll walk up to them, introduce myself, and ask them if they'd be willing to answer these questions that I'm asking students. And so usually we start off with real light questions like, do you believe you'll go to heaven when you die?
A real life question.
Right.
Yeah.
Get them.
Yeah, right.
Engaged
Something real
right away.
light.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you like Coke or Pepsi better? Oh, by the way,
When you die.
how does it feel when you burn in hell?
Yeah, and we're there, and we're on that campus to teach students what the Bible says about how someone gets to heaven. There are fire and brimstone type preachers, but we're there to show them that when you have a relationship with Jesus, your sin is separated from you as far as the east is from the west, and you can go to heaven because of that. So that's how we stop students, and that's why we're able to have so many one-on-one conversations and presentations of the gospel, is because we're actually going out and finding people. And so from there, we invite them to sit down and study it more in depth. You can have a conversation when a student is walking between classes, and sometimes they last a long time. Sometimes students want to sit there and talk with you for an hour. That's not uncommon. But most of the time, they're heading somewhere. It's a college campus, they're between classes, and we've stopped and talked to them. And so then we set up a time to talk further. And so we'll meet them around their schedule right there on campus, and tell them more about the Bible, more about what it says, ask them if they want to learn what it says. And we have a Bible study booklet that we can take them through the semester. again, around their schedule, so we make it real easy for them. We also have a church service that meets nearby, so we are an actual church,
Okay.
which is distinctive, I think. There's a lot of Christian clubs and such on campus, and by all means, anyone that preaches the gospel on a college campus, I'm thankful for. But we really believe having a church for them to then be a part of after they become a Christian is a lot more effective than just saying, congratulations, you're a Christian, Godspeed.
And you want to connect them in so they can be discipled and
Right.
learn how to grow. And
That's exactly
So
it.
if I hear you right, what you're
Yeah.
saying is once you make that contact and once
Right.
you do some discipleship, you just don't leave them alone.
Right.
You have somewhere for them to go and to become engaged in. So
Yeah.
talk about the church and how
Mm-hmm.
the church that you're associated with and how you bring those people in and make them part of a larger community.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's called Faith Christian Church. And so when students come in, of course, we encourage everyone that expresses that they've become a Christian or that they are a Christian, they need a church. We encourage them to pray about what church the Lord is calling them into. And we really believe that God places the individuals in the body just as He desires. And so if they feel led and called to be a member of Faith Christian Church, we let them know, one, we're going to take care of them. And that's certainly been my experience. I mean, I've been so taken care of. I'm so thankful for our leadership, for the discipleship I've received, for the teaching I've received. I mean, I could never repay just what's been sown into me. So we'll take care of them. We really teach them how to serve. We equip them for ministry. And that's a big part of what we do, what our mission is not only to see individuals and families in love with Jesus, but also equip them for ministry and then see them fulfill their purpose, advance the kingdom of God. Now, we're in Tucson, so we want to see it advance in Tucson, but then the rest of the world. And our church has become a model where we've been able to send out churches to other campuses to reach other college campuses in Fort Collins and Tampa and Albuquerque, handful of campuses across the nation, one in New Zealand, so across the
great.
world. Yeah.
it's wonderful.
And didn't you take a group to Arizona State University from University of Arizona?
Right.
So talk about that.
Yeah, sure. So on our spring break, so not all college campuses across the U.S. have the spring break, which is a good thing probably for beach towns and everyone's sanity. But so on our spring break, instead of taking students to, I don't know, like Cabo or Mazatlan or something like that, we'll take them to other college campuses and teach them how to preach the gospel. And so just this past semester, my wife and I, Amanda, your daughter, it feels funny saying my wife to Dave, because Dave knows who
Not
she
a
is.
problem. I'm
Right.
over it.
So-
I lost her to a good man. I'll say that.
Thank you. So we took a group up to Arizona State University and preached the gospel on that campus for that week. And really, these mission trips to other campuses are where a lot of students find that they have a love for ministry, that is where the Lord is calling them to. That's certainly what happened with me. When I was a student, I got saved when I was a junior. And so it was a little bit later on in my college career. So I went on one of these trips while I was still a student. But man, when I went to preach the gospel at CU Boulder. And the first day I preached some and, stopped strangers and shared the gospel. The next day it was a little bit more. And then the last day, I just couldn't get enough of it. And so I came home from that trip really believing this is what the Lord is calling me to. And so eventually that word came to pass, what the Lord promises, He performs. And it's in the right timing. So after I graduated college, I worked for a little bit, but started 2015, I started this full time. And again, it all started with that trip is when the Lord really birthed that love of evangelism in my heart.
It's amazing. It's amazing the walk we have with God and how He takes us through the roads we need to be on for our unique personalities, our own character building, and that doesn't end. That's the good news. You don't graduate Christianity. It continues postgraduate studies until the time that you see Him face to face.
Yeah,
And that's a good
absolutely.
thing. So it's amazing what you're doing. It's a ministry that is so vital right now in America. My Lord, it is probably one of the most important things
Absolutely.
we can do right now
Absolutely.
in America is to reach those that are of voting age, those that are the future leaders of our country, to bring them back to a conservative understanding of God and of how to treat your fellow man.
Right.
And so, Dave, I wanted to ask you a question while we're getting close to the finish of this.
Okay.
All right, so
Shoot.
here we go. So, did this young man, Alex, did he come to you and ask for your daughter's hand? Did he go through all the hoops you set up for him? Do you still keep a gun loaded in the closet? So let's talk about this.
That's a really good question. Alex did call me, and again, being in Tucson, he wasn't able to just hop in a car and come on over. But he did call me. Unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of time to kind of process this. My daughter kind of sprung it on me, although there's kind of an intuitiveness when you have kids. You kind of feel like something's going on. So
How long have they been married?
since November. So
Okay, well, you still have time.
I do. Well, I do have another question for him, so I want to
okay.
get around
Yeah,
to
no,
that.
let's do it on
because-
TV. This is
Okay,
good.
well, that's great.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like
So my question is, now that you've gotten a beautiful wife and that you've been involved in this ministry on your own,
Right.
what are your plans for maybe incorporating her into this ministry?
Oh,
And
yeah.
how is this gonna influence your family? And what are your plans for the future? Because if you don't come up with a good answer now, I have a witness.
Oh, you have
Okay.
several million, actually.
Several million, yeah. So that we're all going to come knocking on your door because we will get your address.
And then we can talk about children in a moment. So go ahead.
So we better get this right, huh? No, that's a great question. I'll say this: ministry, being married, is way more fun than ministry being single, and so it's
No
also
more details from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's enough.
okay.
G-rated show.
Sounds good. It is. It's much more dynamic. But Amanda's already. She's so trusted, and she already volunteered a lot of her time to talk to girls from the campus or help them, and so that's been part of her life since she moved out to Arizona. And so now that we're married, we really see going forward doing this together, really reaching out to the campus full time. That's our call, not just individually, but now as a family, corporately, is we plan to share our lives with the students that we're reaching out to, show them how a Christian family looks, how it acts. And again, it's following the examples that we've been given. The example that I've been shown. The guy that was reaching out to me, his name is Bennett, actually. My last name's Bennett, his first name's Bennett. He really took the time to include me in his life. I knew him when he was engaged to be married. He invited me to his wedding. I saw that, and I knew it was something different than I had ever seen before. It was really amazing testimony of God. And then now he has 3 boys. And just to see him and his wife and the way that they have served the Lord in their marriage, and they're continuing to serve the campus, reach out to the campus. I get to witness alongside of him now, has been amazing. And that's just one example of many that we've been shown for how a Christian family exists. And so hopefully that's satisfactory
That's a
answer.
pretty good question. Yeah, pretty good
Okay.
answer. Yeah.
Good.
We'll talk about it after the
Yeah.
show.
Okay.
Whether it was up to par with what we had expectations for.
Sounds good.
But I really like your attitude.
Oh, thank
I think humility is gigantic as we come to know the Lord, especially as we're learning more information. There's a tendency with young men primarily, but then also women, as you're developing, storing up data to push people into that you know more. And that's not what this is about. And I see that in your attitude.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's who you know, not what you know. And it sounds like you're making a difference on these campuses. Let's do the website address one more time so people can find you, find out how to help.
Sure. So our website is fcccm.org. Had to count that on my fingers. And if you go to fcccm.org, /contribute, you can find out how to give. And so when there'll be a box that asks you who you're partnered with, if you could just list Alex and Amanda Bennett, that would be very helpful for us. It would bless us, and it would allow us to continue to reach this campus full time. And that's as easy as it is. Yeah, any last minute questions, I guess?
I just want to put a little shout out
Sure.
for Dave's show. Dave is a scholar in his own right,
Yes.
first century culture, and
Checks in the mail.
checks in the mail. That's right. You can pay me under the table.
That's right.
And your show, Wild Olive Studies, is amazing. People love the show,
Thank you.
and we look forward to more. And we thank you for your insights, and thank you also for bringing your son-in-law.
Well, I tell you what, I'm a very proud father-in-law, and I think my daughter did a great job, and I've worked right alongside of him. I know he's a hard worker. I have never seen him just sit around and do nothing. He is always doing something. He's always engaged. I couldn't have asked for a better son-in-law. So
I agree.
he comes highly recommended by his father-in-law. So
Good, love it. And when he said that you're always engaged, he meant prior to getting married.
Right. Yeah.
Now you don't need to be engaged
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
longer,
Hey.
just so you know.
That's
All right.
I've kind of figured out that part.
We can give you lots of tips about marriage. So we'll talk on camera. You know, we're so glad that you joined us on the interview. Your participation on our Facebook page and your participation in staying connected with people like Alex and people like Dave is so important because it helps their ministries. And that's what Israel TV Network is all about. We're wanting to grow the kingdom until the king comes. And so we want to do our part, and we can't do that without you because of your participation, because of your prayers, your encouragement. And we just want to thank you so much. And we'll be blessed to see you again next week. Shalom, shalom.